Hey everybody, happy Saturday. What if you could hand paint a 3D model? Well, today I'm going to try and combine Blender with acrylic painting. I came up with this little sketch of a little beach hut thing to see what sides I'd have to paint. Then I made a bigger sketch I could base my model off. I'm not super practiced at Blender, so I prefer to do the creativity and sort of artistry on paper where I'm more comfortable. I'm just not at the stage where I can really ideate in Blender and make it look good. Also, someone mentioned it looked a lot like the Grant Abbott Sea Shack tutorial, which I totally agree with, but I'll link that in the description. But with my sketch done, I hopped into Blender. I made the wood boards first in this low poly sort of style, putting some notches and cuts in the wood. I tried a ladder, failed, and then tried again. I got nervous about how to go about modeling a life ring, and then I remembered I could just add a torus, so that was nice. I made the rest with the 3 tools I knew how to use in Blender. And then came the hardest, worst, and most time-consuming part, UV unwrapping. I was trying to think about how I would like the UVs to be laid out on painting, so that's why they're not super optimized. I was trying to also think about the size that they'd be on a page. I ended up combining all the wood stuff into one object and laying that out as one big UV space. Then I did the same for the house stuff. And it was pretty long and tedious, but I ended up with the model all unwrapped and looking pretty good. None of the checkered squares were very distorted. So I didn't have access to a printer, let alone one that would print on thick paint-appropriate paper, so I used a projector to trace the UVs onto each side of an A3 acrylic paint page. And then I got to paint. I did the wooden boards first because I had the best idea for how they should look. I put a bit of blue on the underside of the boards to simulate the water reflecting back up at them, which I thought was pretty fun. Then I scanned that in and it just worked, which is really exciting. So inspired by that, I decided to finish the other side of the UV page. I made some mossy rocks and then just a lot of white for the windows and door. And then I loaded it in and it all just aligned instantly, which was fun. Finally, some transparent PNGs for some water ripples around the poles really tied everything together. And here it is, my first experiment using paint for textures. I think it was a super fun experiment. It was very time consuming, but it was also very rewarding. I think some additional effects in Blender to make the model less low poly and more painterly in combination with the painted UVs could be really nice. Thanks for watching.